On November 30th, 2021, a Twitter user from Dallas reported that her doorbell camera had recorded a suspicious man standing outside of her apartment almost every night for an entire month. According to her tweet, she had already reached out to the authorities, but they hadn't done enough to keep the man away. This is what her Ring camera captured. In most of the clips, the man can be seen standing eerily still outside of the woman's apartment, possibly waiting for her to come outside. At one point in the video, the man can be heard talking, but his words are difficult to make out. It's unknown what he planned to do if the woman stepped out of her apartment, but judging by his behavior, it likely wasn't anything good. After the original upload, the disturbing video immediately went viral, with hundreds of people checking in on the woman to make sure she was safe. 2 days later, the woman posted an update on Twitter, in which she mentioned that her friends and family had confronted the man, and that security had been on the lookout for him. Many people who viewed the video urged the uploader not to let her guard down, and reminded her that the likelihood that the man would show up again was very high. But after the last tweet in December 2021, there haven't been any more updates, and the man's identity hasn't been publicly revealed.
So can we talk about this creepy video that came out of Mexico? So this TikToker that works security explains how he's seen and felt things that he can't explain. But at 3:20 in the morning after securing the building, he sees something, but he just can't quite catch it on camera. That is, until he does. And viewers were quick to point out that it looks like it disappears. But let me know what you think.
No, ya no se va a ver nada. Ya no se va a ver nada porque lo que se mira acá de este lado es la pantalla que está prendida. Ahí arriba, esa. De ahí en más, pues estoy solo, les digo, estoy todo solo ahorita. Solo. Y ahorita vi algo allá en la entrada de clientes. Hasta allá, hasta lo último. Y lo vi clarito. Ya lo vi otra vez. A ver si se alcanza a ver. No, me da miedo ir. A eso que se mira ahí. Eso negro que se ve ahí. Miren, ya se movió. ¡Oh! Está caminando, de hecho está que no manches. No manches. Y se sigue moviendo. Es una persona, claro está que miren. No. Vámonos.
Reviewing the creepiest children's toys throughout history, part 3. You probably know about Mexican jumping beans from truck stops and gift stores from when you were a kid, but what you might not know is that these were actually not beans at all, but seeds filled with bugs. So basically, there was a species of moth native to Mexico, and they would lay their eggs on top of these quote-unquote beans, and then they would eat their way inside the bean, and then live inside of it as a larva. And the way you were supposed to play with these was to hold them in your hand or put them in the sun, and the heat would make them start to move. That's because too much heat was actually lethal to the larva, and so they interpreted your hand as the scorching hot Mexican sun and were desperately trying to get away from you. These worms were basically living inside of a coffin, and every time we found childhood joy in their movement, they were actually just burning alive and just fighting to survive to see another day. And I guess this is kind of like their version of a torture camp, like Guantanamo for moth larvae. Most children obviously had no idea that these were actually alive, because when confronted with a box of exciting objects called Mexican jumping beans, you're not going to read the fine print. But these were definitely alive, and you can imagine their surprise when in about 2 to 3 months, a moth started to emerge from their beloved little bean. Tragically, after all of that suffering, these moths still only live for about 2 to 3 days, which might be for the best, because by the time the moths were ready to come out, most children had grown bored of the toy and put it away in a drawer somewhere. So instead of being free to fly around in the new home they were just born into, they instead were cruelly trapped inside the plastic cage they were sold in at an American truck stop. 5 out of 5 stars.
It took me 20 years to realize something creepy about Shrek. We know Fiona has lived in the tower for more than 20 years. But wait. How did she survive for so long with no food? Well, check out this scene to understand. At the beginning of the movie, Shrek says ogres loves human soups. And then, we see a recipe book of humans and a pot near Fiona's room. Does it mean Fiona is a cannibal?
Look at your M closely. There's a gap right here in the letter M. It's never connected. So you go into Hebrew. The letter Vav is also the number 6. Short top, long tail. Short top, long tail. You could have here in Hebrew 666 on the can. But my interest is the word monster. What do you see in the O? There's a cross.
Okay.
What has Christ got to do with an energy drink, let alone the name Monster? Here is the message. Antichrist. 666 in Hebrew. And then the Bible talks about the beast in Revelation. And look at Monster's ad. This is their statement. You see these M's everywhere. Hats, t-shirts, bumper stickers. Is there another agenda here? If God can use people and product, so can Satan. And look at it this way. Even if the M was not the issue, you cannot deny that that is a cross. And what is witchcraft? When the cross goes upside down. Bottoms up.
My GF has an ex who passed away in an unsolved accident. Today she told me about how killers often keep trophies. Should I be concerned?
When Moana sets out on her boat to find Maui, she encounters a huge thunderstorm. Moana died since the storm was too great for her to handle. The rest of the journey is done by Moana's spirit, and that is why she only meets gods and spirits along the way. It is only after she finishes her quest that Te Fiti restores her spirit to her body, bringing her back to the mortal plane, which allows her to return back to her family on the island.
Wow.
And she does. She only encounters gods and spirits.
You're right about that.
The whole movie.
That's wild.
Everyone knows about Epstein Island, but have you heard about Rothschild's Island?
I don't even know who that is.
The Rothschilds are like the most mainstream name when it comes to the Illuminati. Like, everybody knows about them. But yeah, they bought an island off the coast of Antarctica. Why would you want an island in Antarctica?
Why would anyone go to Antarctica?
I think there could be like secret tunnels they have built in under there.
It's the giant steps in Peru.
You have got to be kidding me. Probably already know that this isn't a giant staircase. There still seems to be some confusion on it, so let me just drive it into the ground one last time. This is Ollantay Tambo. It is an Incan terrace farm. Milo, it looks like stairs. All right, riddle me this. If this was a staircase built for giants, why is there a human-sized staircase in the middle of it? And another human-sized staircase on the side of it? No, maybe they had human pets, a little pet on a guy on a string. That really looks like a giant could live in it. Oh yeah, and this doorway too, it's like 5.5 feet tall. Let's use some context clues. What's that over there? Is that a terrace farm? Of course that's not a terrace farm, that was a staircase for baby giants. You ready for this? This is my favorite part. There is an entire valley right here. Where were they going? Why would you feel the need to build gigantic steps up this hill and into these tiny ass houses? Look at that, there's no stairs down the other side of the mountain. And this is what your giant stairs are made out of. Can you imagine a giant picking this up? Yes, we're gonna make a staircase so I can get over this hill. Giant conspiracy.
The Simpsons predictions for 2024 are truly chilling. In an episode dating back to 1998, the show hinted at an economic crisis, a nuclear war, and the death of the leader of the United States, all happening in the same year. The episode in question, titled Bart to the Future, provides a glimpse into the future where Lisa Simpson has become the President of the United States. In a conversation with her team, Lisa mentions that the previous administration led by President Biden left behind budget problems and quite a mess. Later in the episode, a news bulletin reports a nuclear clash with an unspecified country, resulting in massive destruction and chaos. While the idea of a nuclear war and an economic crisis is quite frightening, we can certainly hope that these Simpsons predictions do not come true. However, it's hard to ignore the show's track record in predicting major events, which leads us to wonder what else they might have predicted for the future. And precisely, one of the latest episodes of The Simpsons contains an even more terrifying prediction than anything they have predicted before. Do you...
One of the two touchdown passes Patrick Mahomes had in the first quarter. And Bouchel, a strike to Noah Gray, who spins out of one tackle.
Something f***ing weird is happening in New Mexico and people need to know about it. So this guy named Justin and his wife Brianna live in a house located somewhere in Socorro County, New Mexico. And when I say somewhere, I mean in the middle of nowhere. So it all began when their little girl came to them one day and said that a coyote has been visiting her in the middle of the night and talking to her. Kids have wild imaginations, so they didn't pay much attention to it. Until one night, when the children were asleep, they heard a man's voice outside of their bedroom window. Now, this was extremely alarming to them, given how remote the location location of their home actually is, thinking that somebody was stalking them outside of their house. Justin tells the story of what happened when he went to go investigate that night. He initially sees nobody. He notices that his cows appear to have been scared by something on the other side of the yard. The story seems like something straight out of a movie, but it's all 100% real. Justin is my brother, and I'm the one who took all of this footage. There's some shit that happened in this house that I cannot explain. If you want to see the full story, it's called The Witching Hour, a series we created on YouTube in order to document the variety of strange things that really did happen at this house.
For crying, it's insane.
We are the first species.
Pay attention, people. Pay attention.
To be aware of evolution, to be aware that we are affecting our own evolution by everything that we do. The babies we eat, the food we eat, the wars we fight. We are the first species.
Boy, what the fuck going on in Miami, bro? Boy, she would've got in there. No, shit, that shit just disappeared.